It's Tuesday, August 11th here at the West End Gun Club. Came out today on my day off to run through the August NRL22 Course of Fire. So I haven't raged logged in almost probably a month or more than a month, because what happened is I canceled the NRL22 July Course of Fire, the July match that we have here at the West End Gun Club. Things were getting kind of dicey with COVID-19 in July, so I made the decision to just cancel the match. So August, it's still tentative, but we're scheduled to have the match, but things could change. If things start to get worse again, may make the decision to cancel the match. But right now, we're tentatively going to have that match. But I'm going to go ahead and just come out, just run through the Course of Fire, get all the stages set up and configured, and take my notes like I usually do every month, just so I know how I'm going to set up the match on match day. So it's a little breezy right now. It's about at least 5 miles an hour wind. I didn't pay attention to the weather report before I came out here. All I know is it's going to be warm today, high 90s. I didn't pay attention to the wind, but we'll deal with it. My main reason for coming out is just to know how I'm going to set up each stage for the Course of Fire on this range facility here at the West End Gun Club. Anyway, let's go ahead and get started getting props out of the condoms container and just get set up so we can start shooting. Been out here for nearly 2 hours and I haven't fired a round. Setting up targets, figuring out where the placement's going to be, and just getting getting ready for the match day in terms of being able to run the match. It takes some time, so it's better to spend that now than to spend that 2 hours on the morning of match day getting set up. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and start live firing. I just want to get warmed up here. Haven't shot in over a month. Let's warm up the barrel. And these bugs are on me. Summertime, a lot of bugs out here at the range. But let's just get warmed up, get the barrel going, and see what see if everything jives with what the Kestrel's telling me as far as the dope is concerned. So right now it looks like I need 1/10 of a mil right now for right windage. But the wind on this range, sometimes it blows one way on the lower berm and the other way on the upper berms, so it's kind of a wash. The first stage of fire we're going to run through is called use side switching Scalawag. 120-second par time, 10 rounds. We have 3 banks of targets, 5 total targets. We have a 1-inch and a 3/4 inch KYL at 30 yards. We have a 3-inch and a 2.5 inch on a double hanger at 60. Then we have a 6-inch on a single hanger at 90. So 30, 60, 90. You're going to start standing, rifle grounded, mag in, action open. So you're going to stand, rifle's going to be on the ground, mag in, action open. As so. On signal, shooter will assume a prone, supported position and engage the targets in the following order. 30 yards, support side. So if you're right-handed shooter, you'll shoot left side. If you're left-handed shooter, you'll shoot right side. So 30 yards, support side, large to small, 1 shot each. Then 60 yards, strong side, large to small, 1 shot each. Then 90 yards, support side, 1 shot. Then you'll go back down to 30 yards, go strong side this time. So if you're right-handed shooter, you shoot right-handed. Starting at 30 yards, strong side, large to small, 60 yards, support side, large to small, 1 shot each. Then 90 yards, strong side, 1 shot. So it's 1 2 1 2 1 1 2 1 2 1. So 10 rounds total. It doesn't say hit to move on, so it's just hit or miss and continue. Seems pretty straightforward. We'll go and just run through it. So I think the key thing to remember is always shoot largest target to small on if there's 2 targets at that distance, and you're going to start support, then strong, support, strong. Just got to remember that. Outside of that, you should be good to go. But let me go ahead and just stage my rifle, because if the Course of Fire dictates that you have to rifle in on the ground, you should probably have it ready to go in the position you want to shoot it in. So finished 102 on the clock, 0.48. So I shot that pretty sloppy, and you see me fumbling around with the bag. The big issue here is, again, if you haven't seen my previous range vlogs, regarding this range, we're shooting at an upward angle. So you have to run your bipod at the tallest point in order to engage the far targets at 100 yards or so, because it's gonna be an upper berm. But when you're shooting a 30, obviously that bipod's pretty tall, so I have to figure out how to kind of just cradle the gun with the bag, kind of quasi my hand between it. So that's why you see me fumbling. So that's why it looks a little sloppy, but you do what you got to do to complete the stage. Pretty straightforward, easy stage. Most people should have no problem with this. Next stage of fire we're going to run through is called Slingtime Twist and Shout. It's a sling stage, so it's probably the stage that most people are going to hate. We got 4 targets, 3 banks. We got a 2-inch at 25 on a single hanger. We got a 3-inch and a 4-inch at 50 yards on a double, and a 5-inch at 100 on a single hanger. 10 points per hit, and this is the time stage, so you get 1/10 of a bonus point for every second remaining out of the 120-second part time. So if you finish with 10 seconds left, you get 10 times a tenth, so that's 1 full point bonus. Anyway, you're going to start prone, unsupported mag in, action open. So you're going to actually be in the prone position, slung up and the bolt open. In the prone position, upon signal, shooter will engage the 5-inch target at 100 yards with 2 rounds. Shooter will then transition to the sitting position and engage the 4-inch target at 50 yards with 2 rounds. Shooter will then transition to the kneeling position and engage the 3-inch target at 50 yards with 3 rounds. And the shooter will transition to stay in position and engage the 2-inch target at 25 yards with 3 rounds. So you're going to shoot 2 prone at 100, 2 sitting at 50, 3 kneeling at 50, then 3 standing at 25. So the targets are getting smaller as you come back in. Straightforward stage. Whether or not it's going to be easy for you, who knows? Just practice. So I messed up. You're not supposed to shoot 3 rounds on that first one. So I do eject my round, transition to kneeling. Then I shoot 3. I realized I didn't have my microphone on when I was shooting that stage. I took it off because I was moving from the various positions and I didn't want to get the cord tangled up. But what I was saying is, I mean, if you couldn't hear me on camera, I messed up the when I was going from sitting to kneeling. So I fired 2 rounds prone, then transition to sitting. I fired 2 rounds, but then I closed the bolt on that 5th round, and I just realized, oh, I'm not shooting 3 rounds sitting. So I had to open the bolt because safety rules dictate you have to transition. When you transition targets or transition positions, you have to open the bolt. So I'm opening the bolt, losing a round, and I'm going to go down to the kneeling position. So I could do either one of 2 things. I can load that round that I ejected back in the mag, or I can switch to another mag later on at the last target or with my last shots. So I just decided to go ahead and just load that round right in there. That cost me about 6 or 7 seconds. Load the round in, put the mag back in, then went into kneeling, and then started to continue the course of, or that stage of fire. It's a little mistake that a lot of people make. People aren't thinking, oh, fire, 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 I'm supposed to transition, but they close the bolt, right? They close the bolt because you're supposed to transition to a new target or a new position. They close the bolt. Then they start moving, and then we're like, stop, you got to stop, open your bolt. And they're thinking, oh, I'm going to lose the round. Well, that's on you, right? You lost the round, you got to figure out how to get it back in the gun later on. These little details, if you've never shot any sort of PRS or NRL style match, these are the little details you have to pay attention to. You just can't willy-nilly just go high speed, right? You have to be aware of what you're doing. You can't just, just shoot without thinking. So that's the whole idea behind that. There's safety, it's a safety rule, and it's just being aware of the course of fire, that stage of fire. Anyway, I finished with 102 on the clock, 102.57. So, I got some extra bonus points, but at the same time, I could have gotten more had I not messed up on my cadence and loading or closing the bolt when I shouldn't have. But it's a pretty straightforward stage. It's just you got to be capable of shooting those positions with a sling. Let's go ahead and move on to the next stage of fire. Oh, and one note, I did miss a shot, so I finished with 9 out of 10, 90 points plus my bonus time. But I missed my first shot at Hunter. For some reason, I missed it. I don't know where it went. The third stage of fire where we're going to run through is called Hold the Small Ones. 120-second par time, 10 rounds. We got 4 targets, 2 banks. We got the 1/4 inch and 1/2 inch KOL at 30 yards, and a 1 inch and a 1.5 inch target at 65 yards. Basically, you're going to start standing, rifle ground and mag in, action open, scope is adjusted. And the thing is, the reason why they say that is you cannot adjust your turrets during this stage of fire. So once you set them, you can't use them. You can only adjust their parallax. On signal, shooter will assume his prone supported position and engage the targets in the following order. 30 yards, 2 rounds each target, large to small. 65 yards, 2 rounds each target. Doesn't say large to small. We're going to assume it means large to small. It's emitted from the course of fire. And then 30 yards, 1 round each, large to small. So you're going to go 30, 2 rounds each, large to small. 65 yards, 2 rounds each target, large to small. And then 30 yards, 1 round each, large to small. Seems pretty straightforward. 2-2, 2-2, 1-1. And the rifle just needs to stay grounded. So you should probably set everything up as you need it to be. Key thing is here is make sure you got the reticle set where you want it. Know your holdovers. Mine is a unique situation that I have -0, negative turret, because I'm bottomed out for this with a 60-minute base. So I just have to do the math in my head. I'll roughly need 1/2 mil for 65 yards. So I'll just use that holdover in my reticle. So let's go ahead and just adjust parallax, because that's what you're allowed to touch during this match. And my parallax in the Collins K525i is at the top, which is this lever deal here is my parallax. Pretty easy course of fire, or stage of fire rather. Finished with, I had 59 on the clock, so plenty of time left over. This is a really easy stage of fire. I can't imagine anyone won't clean this. As long as your rifle is accurate enough to shoot a ½ inch or a ¼ inch KYL at 30, you shouldn't have any problems on this stage. No other tips here. It's pretty easy. Let me double check, make sure I didn't miss anything. No support side, strong side transitions. Yeah, it's a pretty simple stage. All right, let's move on to the next stage of fire. And I actually need to move one of my stands over because I'm -1 stand, so I need to take one out from one of the previous stages, move it for this stage. Oh, and I didn't miss anything here, 10 for 10 here. So I only dropped 1 round so far, and that was the second stage that we shot so far. Next stage of fire we're running through is called Bricks for Brains, 120-second part time, 10 rounds. We have 4 targets and 2 banks. We have a 1 and a 2-inch on a double hanger at 60, a 1.5 and a 2.5 on a double hanger at 80 yards. You're going to start standing with the rifle grounded mag in action open. On signal, shooter will assume a prone position on the left cinder block. Engage targets in order 2.5, 2, 1.5, and 1, with 1 round each. Shooter will then move to the right cinder block and engage the targets in the opposite order, 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5, with 1 round each. Shooter will then move to the center cinder block and engage the 1 inch and 1.5 inch targets with 1 round each. So large to small, small to large, small to large. 1 round each. Hit or miss, doesn't matter. Move on. Just shoot and move. All targets must be shot with the rifle on top of the cinder blocks. Cinder blocks spaced at least 16 inches apart. I think they're like 18 right now. You're allowed to use a bag because you said you one piece of equipment. It doesn't say the rifle can't touch the rear of the rifle. Can't be supported. So the only issue is setting the rifle on the cinder blocks. And the way I have them configured, it's up to your match director. So I have the holes up top. I can make it hard and leave the holes up top so you can't really use the, you'll have a hard time using the cinder blocks for support. And you just have to use a bag. Or I can make it easy and leave the cinder blocks in this manner. From what I can tell, actually the cinder blocks in the photo, the holes are visible on the side, so I guess it'll be easy. You can use your bipod. So we'll go with that. Small, large. Barely grazed it. Ooh, I don't know what happened there. I think wind picked it up. Small, large. Just barely grazing that last target. Saw the bullet just like go way left after it hits. Barely grazed. 81.45. So I think the wind is actually picking it up, or it's letting off. I have 2 right now. I'll come back a 10th. Like I said, the wind here is kind of finicky. With 22, it actually does matter a little bit because the way it swirls in here, so could cause you to miss a target. Anyway, that's pretty straightforward. You can finish. I think most people should be able to clean this, assuming they don't miss a target. They should have no problem transitioning and getting enough time to shoot. So, yeah. So far, I've only dropped 1 point. So last one is the tank trap, which I need to figure out how I'm going to shoot this. So let's move over to that stage. The final stage we're going to run through today is called them Tankin tires. 122nd part-time, 10 rounds. We got two targets only. We got a 2-inch on a double at 50, 3-inch on a single hanger at 100. So 2-inch at 50, 3-inch at 100. You're going to start standing, rifle in hand, mag in action open. On signal, shooter will engage the targets in the following manner from the following positions and props. May not shoot from the same leg more than once on the tank trap. So you're going to shoot center of tank trap, 50 yard, one shot. Top of tire, 100 yard, one shot. First leg of tank trap. And when it says leg, it means the portion below the joint. So it's going to be here, here, and here, not here, here, and here. It's going to be kind of difficult because this forward one, it's going to require some work. This rear one's going to require some work. And one that sticks out should be relatively easy, depending on how your match instructor does it. One of the legs should be easiest to shoot from. So again, center of tank trap, 50 yards, top of tire, 100 yards. First leg of tank trap, 100 yards, top of tire, 50. Second leg, pick another one, a different leg, 50 yards, top of tire, 100. Then the third leg, 100, top of tire, 50. Then back to the center, 50 and 100 yards. So it's kind of confusing. So 50 center, top of tire, 100, leg 100, top of tire, 50, leg 50, top of tire, 100, leg 100, top of tire, 50. Then center 50 and 100. So 2 shots here at the final. So I think the easiest way to look at it, well, there is no easy way to look at it. So you're going to start at 50, then the tire dictates what you shoot on the leg. So 50, then 100, then 100. 50, 50, 100, 100, 50, 50, 100. So one more time. 50, 100, 100, 50, 50, 100, 100, 50, 50, 100. So that tire resets what the leg, what the yardage you're going to shoot. So just think at 50 to 100 and go from there. All right. Not very straightforward, but we'll see how it goes. Damn, that's hard. Whew. I don't know how you're going to shoot that. Number one, the target is not visible right now. I'm going to go ahead and move that, clear the brush a little bit and shoot this one more time. But the position of the legs is going to make this difficult to shoot. The forwardmost one's going to be a pain because no matter what you do to make that easier to shoot off of, the rear one's going to be difficult. I don't know if I can angle like this. Might make it easier. It's the best I can do. We'll try this. Let me go clear that brush because I cannot see the target. So I timed out with 4 rounds left. I've made all hits, so I don't know how to shoot this leg. I really don't. So if somebody can explain to me how this exactly is supposed to work, I'm all ears. But assuming you're not allowed to move the tank trap, I mean, you can move the tank trap, that's not a problem, but I don't know. Is that allowed? Yeah, this is rough. All right, as far as the placement of this whole thing, I'll probably just put it in the concrete. I put it on the dirt because you need a lot of room to maneuver. But I'll probably just go ahead and put it on the concrete. All this gravel and dirt and brass on your elbows, not really good. Anyway, so I dropped 4, dropped 5, so I shot a 450, and not counting as my bonus points. I'm gonna get some water and start cleaning up because it's getting hot out here. While I was tearing stuff down, I double checked that tank trap and I was looking at it, and I think I know how I can orient it such that you can shoot off of all 3 bottom portions of the tank trap legs. I'm gonna try it at home. I have another tank trap at home. It's like an even smaller version. It only uses 4-foot segments, but I'll try it in the garage. I'll just set up and see how I can orient it such that it's shootable. But that one is a very difficult stage, to be honest. The rest of the stages are pretty straightforward. Shouldn't have any problems, I don't think. Some people will probably have issues with the sling stage, but that's more along the lines of the shooter, not the actual stage itself. So anyway, that's kind of it for this range vlog. Again, August match should be on the 4th Sunday of the month. Off the top of my head, I can't think of what that is. Is that the 23rd, 24th? Something like that. So the 4th Sunday of the month, it's scheduled right now, it's on the calendar, but the potential for that to be canceled is not high, but there is a chance. I might decide to pull the match, and in the week prior, like the few days prior to the match, I may decide to send cancellations and refund the fees. But I posted on Practice Score yesterday, and it should open up for registration this Sunday at noon Pacific Daylight. So you can register for that. We're capping at 15, same protocols as the month prior, not July but June. Require masks or face coverings, social distance or whatever, I try to gap it so that I try to put enough space between the stages so you can at least have some free area. And depending on how people kind of congregate, we may or may not require people to stay behind the actual firing area if you're not shooting or scoring or spotting. So, but June it ran pretty well, so we didn't have any issues, and I think we should be fine this August as long as we keep the cap at 15 to 16 shooters. We should be okay. So I finally brought the Jeep out to the range for the first time since I lifted it. I lifted the Jeep and put new tires since then, so it's been like 2 months since I brought this one to the range. But we'll just take a quick tour for those interested. Here's the lift. It's a Metal Cloak Game Changer 2.5 inch with the Rock Sport shocks. The red shocks there, they're not the Rubicon shocks, they're actually the Metal Cloak Rock Sport shocks. They have more travel. Pretty much changed up all the control arms, so all 8 control arms have been swapped out for adjustable control arms. Then you got the adjustable front and rear track bars, and then you know, obviously the coil springs. And then the tires went with the Milestar Patagonia MTs. These are the 315 70 R17s. So they're basically 35s, you know, slightly less than 35s. Because they're metric, but I don't know, I'm pretty content with these right now. I've only got maybe 500 miles on them, but we'll see how they work out. I did test drive this down the street in Lido Creek at something called a trail called Paiute Spur. I can't remember the number. Is it 3N16, 3N17, one of those. But it was a mild trail that I took it down just to test the suspension, make sure everything's okay. Then I retorqued all the suspension bolts when I got back home to make sure everything was okay. But so far so good. The Metal Cloak, highly recommend this lift. It's a relatively straightforward install. There are a couple of nuances, but you know, it's nothing that you can't get past. And I wrote an article, posted on my blog to kind of cover the various issues that you may come across when you're trying to install your own lift on a Jeep JK. But there's plenty of documentation out there for JK lifts. JKs have been around for since 2007, so nothing new. But I just published my own thing just to let people know what I came across as far as lift issues or lift install issues. But so far I'm pretty happy with this lift kit. I didn't want to do 3.5 inches. I only wanted enough just enough to clear 35-inch tires. So that's why I went with the 2.5 inch lift. If you're going to do 37s, then you definitely want to do a 3.5, but I'm only going to do 35s. Anyway, that's pretty much quick overview of it. I'm going to do another video on the JK pretty soon to summarize my 3 years of ownership, because I only own, this is about 2 years in August, so two years and 8 months. That pretty much wraps up the vlog here at the West End Gun Club and my run through of the August NRL22 Course of Fire here at the Rimfire range of the WEGC facility. Today is Tuesday, August 11th. That's it for the day. I'm going to go run some errands and then go home, take a shower, and then cut this video to publish for tomorrow morning. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next vlog.